I am live from our Proud Tour. This is the second stop here in West Boca, Florida. And I have a power couple, Mackenzie and Brian Herrick, multi-unit franchise partners at Burn Boot Camp.
And so I walked into Burn Boot Camp and it was MetCon.
You got MetCon on your first day? That's gnarly. Where was the time that you guys met? How long have you been together?
That's a fun story. Do you want me to tell it? Or you?
Sure, go ahead. Just going to say one thing to piggyback off that.
Do it.
Where I feel like what you're trying to say in a nutshell. I mean, you said it beautifully, so I'm not trying to restate it, but...
This is a real puppy talk, by the way.
That's good.
Mac will say a couple gyms or whatever, and...
His number's different than my number.
Yeah. Do you have trust? And if people are missing those things in their life, they can find them here.
Burn Nation, welcome back to another Burn Boot Camp podcast. We have an interview, a very, very special treat. I am live from our Proud Tour. This is the second stop here in West Boca, Florida. And I have a power couple, entrepreneurs, fitness enthusiasts. They're a power couple to the T. We're going to dive deep into Mackenzie and Brian Herrick, multi-unit franchise partners at Burn Boot Camp, their journey, their family, their values, their business relationship, how they do it all, how they, as a husband and a wife, can really have harmony in their life financially, emotionally, with their fitness. We're going to talk about it all with them here on the Burn Boot Camp podcast. So, Mackenzie, Brian, welcome. It's so exciting to have you guys.
Thank you.
We just threw down this morning at West Boca, an 8:30 camp ran by Jody, who has been here for a long time. And then I ran the 9:30 camp. Arms and core, as Matt Morris would say, goes together like peanut butter and jelly. We had arms and core today. And so I'm just grateful that I'm invited here to spend this time with you. Thank you for spending your time on the podcast. I know Burn Nation is very excited to hear from you guys. Our franchise partner episodes have been doing so well. Melissa Price and Lindsay Bushnell, who are OG franchise partners, kind of kicked it off. Gilda and Emily, who are your neighbors down the road here in Florida, were featured on the podcast. And we're so excited to keep that going. And we haven't really had a power couple on yet that is a franchise partner. So this is the first. You're the inaugural. So Mackenzie, I'll start with you. You guys first we'll talk about a little bit of biography because I want the audience to get to know you a little bit. So let us into your life. Where did this all start and how did you guys get here today?
Well, I've always been athletic. Fitness has been a part of my life, my whole life. Played soccer, did sports, all that good stuff. And my career has been in nonprofit and for-profit management. When I had my daughter, decided to stay home, do the stay-at-home mom life and really pour into her, and ended up, pretty much pouring my whole self into her, which I know is kind of a common story at Burn Boot Camp.
Everyone just raised their hand that's listening to this right now and agrees that they felt the same thing at some point.
So I worked out a bit at home, right? Tried to be as consistent as I could with working out, but wasn't able to have the accountability that I really wanted to have and was used to, honestly, to be honest. So I had heard about Burn Boot Camp. And I was looking for a place that I could come and work out and bring my daughter because my husband has a very busy career. And so he has lots of after hours and early mornings and weekend obligations. So I needed a place that I could come and I could feel a community. I could feel a challenge. I could still have a little bit of like that team vibe that I had when I was playing sports. And so I walked into Burn Boot Camp and it was MetCon.
You got MetCon on your first day. That's gnarly.
Yeah. So I knew everything. Like I knew what Burn Boot Camp was all about. I knew there was a finisher and I kind of knew what to expect as far as like 45-minute camp. But I didn't know anything about MetCon. So that was kind of a surprise. It was a very challenging day for me, for sure, because I was deconditioned, right? I had been spending all my time with my daughter and stuff. So It was a challenging workout. It was a fun workout. They told me we don't take breaks at burn boot camp. So
water breaks.
Right. So I took that very seriously. I'm a very literal, logical person. So I did not stop at all. And so at the end, I was a tired girl. I loved every minute of it. I was ready to sign the dotted line. And so that's how I started in the gym. Eventually signed up for a camp pack. So I knew with where I was in my fitness journey that as much as I wanted to be an unlimited member, I needed to have rest days built in because I needed that time to recover. So,
and when was this? When did you first join?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay.
And so started as a camp pack member, couple quick months, and then I was unlimited, and a couple months after that, unlimited universal, and going to other burns, and really maximizing everything. So, and then not too long after that, we had an opportunity to purchase the Estero Burn Boot Camp, and shortly after that, West Boca. So,
So you not only just drank the Kool-Aid, you had the whole jug. You went from a camp pack to a multi-unit. You went from a camp pack to a location pack. in like 2 years. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Brian, your perspective on
Yeah, I'd probably have to take us back a little bit further because there's context behind all of that. There was some intentionality, I think, that was built in that when the opportunities started coming up, they were really organic and they made sense. So to me, and we were talking about this earlier on the drive over here, we had a trip to visit my brother and his son right after he was born, right? Christmas. So that he was only maybe a month and a half old. We got stuck in Kansas City. And so it was the 27th of December and we got stuck. Thank you, American Airlines. You can cut that out if you want. But so we have our daughter who's 2 years old and we're like, how are we going to get home? And our car was in Miami. That's where we were supposed to land and drive back to Naples. We end up renting a 4Runner and saying, you know what, let's make lemonade out of this and drive down and make it like a family vacation. And so we take our 2-year-old, we rent the car seat and we get in. And after all of my anger, trying to adapt to what had happened, we start driving. And then we're deciding where we want to stop, what we want to do, how many days. And we ended up going, I think, to Chattanooga. We went and saw some caves, that little trolley car, some stuff like that. I'm a space nerd, so we ended up going to NASA and the Kennedy Space Center, which was kind of like a bucket list thing for me. Took my daughter there. And the epiphany I think that we had was we spent New Year's Eve in a hotel in Tennessee, just the three of us, and we ordered some, it was Chinese or Vietnamese takeout, and there's no silverware. So we have this huge bowl of soup that's in this salad bowl, and we have a ladle, and we're sharing this soup back and forth. And it was one of these, like, to me, I will never forget that moment because we were laughing. Our daughter was having a good time, and we basically had nothing, and this is how we were spending this holiday. So nothing you would brag about, but it meant a lot to us. Mm-hmm. And that started a chain reaction, I think, for us. We got home, and we immediately started talking about the rat race, what she wanted to do as a career coming back from being a stay-at-home mom. We started like, well, what can we do in real estate? What can we do here? What can we do there? And it became like, well, if this is something we want to do for the family, right? Retire at 55, when our daughter's getting ready for college, be flexible, be able to go to her art shows and her music or whatever it is she's into. So that was kind of a core value that we anchored to. And then fast forward, we bought a couple investment properties. Mac was running those. It's something she didn't mention. She had a property management company. We were going to start leveling that up when her story kind of picked up.
Okay. Good. That's great context. And so can I take it back a little bit further?
Sure.
Where was the time that you guys met? How long have you been together?
That's a fun story. Do you want me to tell it? Or you?
Sure. Go ahead.
So it's
always fun to have both the color commentary too.
I'll
so feel free if you want to jump in.
Yeah.
She reserves the right to edit veto. So, so I worked at a bank, and it was Citizens Bank, and I was in Vermont, and we had not met at this point. It turns out that she had been a client of the bank. I was a banker, and I'm standing behind the teller line. It's 5 minutes to close on a Friday, and she comes in, and she's like, "Oh, hey guys, it's me. I'm so sorry. I'm that person that you're going to hate because I got to do this thing." And she wouldn't stop talking because that's what she does. When she gets nervous, she actually talks a lot. And so I'm like, I'll take you right here. And everyone thought it was a play because, she's very attractive. And I'm like, okay, I'm single. And so she comes up and
Was it a play?
I don't know. Honestly,
Yeah,
probably it was. And so basically it was kind of this sassy interchange. And I won't get into the specifics, but it was a little bit of a sassy interchange. And I kept trying to get her to take my business card because I can't look up her number. Like that's not, policy, and it's just not right. So she leaves and I don't know who she is. I don't know where she lives, nothing about her. And it was like, no. And everyone looked at me and said, that was interesting. Fast forward, 3 months, we were both on this website called OkCupid, right? And I see this profile and it's a blonde and it's really sassy. And it says something like, you're going to have to try harder than this to get to know me. But here's what I will tell you. She's like, I like, was it Les Mills, Zumba, rollerblading, and these 3 shows. And it was Lost, Parks and Recreation. I forget the third one.
Me too.
So I respond and I say, you had me at Lost and Parks and Recreation because at that time in my life, I just, for whatever reason, really identified with those shows. She responds, are you that cute banker that I met 3 months ago? And then we went on a date and we've been together ever since.
Yep.
You threw the word cute in there just to let them know that, hey, there's a little interest, huh?
That's right.
All right. Cool. So then what year was that?
2012.
Okay.
Yeah,
So 2012. And then you start your life together. You've built a beautiful family. A little bit about your family. Children.
Yes. We have a 5-year-old. She just turned 5 on Monday, actually.
Awesome.
Harper.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And does she feel like she's a Burn owner as well? Is she walking around with her boss hat on at this point? Or is she just getting used to it? Because you guys are newer franchise partners. This has all happened very, very fast, right?
Yes.
It's you basically walk in the gym, buy the camp pack, drink the Kool-Aid, go tell Brian this is legit. Like I'm feeling energized. I'm starting to feel like myself again. Mm-hmm. He's got the business mind. You're looking for something to do. You already started the property management company, post kind of coming back for the second chapter of professional life.
Right.
And maybe didn't love it or what was the transit? Like what was the reason, or maybe you do love it, but what was the reason why you wanted to own a Burn? Like what was that moment in time? Because I think you guys know this. 90% of our franchise partners were members first.
I believe it.
Members first,
yeah.
Right? Because they feel the same things that you felt. And that's why Burn has this organic community that nobody can really match, is because it just happened. It just happened. And I think I work hard, but it's not like I had some like really smart strategy that like boom and it blew up. It was just loving people and just taking care of people. So what was it for you guys? First you, Matt, like when did the idea come? What was the moment? Tell me the emotions around that. What were you seeing? What were you feeling? What were you hearing? You went home and told him something, or you guys started talking about it at dinner, or how did that conversation go? Because there are people listening to this right now that are going to be very inspired by you guys and in your story, and give them a little bit of momentum in case they're wondering.
Well, I would say, to answer your question about the property management and how I decided to pivot into ownership of Burn Boot Camp, I enjoyed that, but it wasn't really resonating with me. It was kind of something that I was doing well, kept me occupied. And honestly, it was right when my daughter was starting to go to school 3 days a week. So, I had increased capacity. I had a little more time on my hands. And my intent was, okay, I guess I'll start doing more of the property management stuff, some of the admin stuff that I've maybe been putting off because I've been spending time with my daughter. But it wasn't in my heart, right? Like there was nothing about it that got me up in the morning or that I felt passionate about. There wasn't that drive. And Burn Boot Camp, like it just so happened that Brian saw the opportunity on Biz Buy Sell, I think it was, right? And so he came to me and he was like...
Well, it was a text message. She was in a different room and I was on
yeah, maybe I'll let you tell that part.
Well, no, I think it's a fun...
Morgan and I do that all the time. It's not that we don't love each other. It's just we're really comfortable and we don't want to shout things across the room.
Yeah. So she's in a different room, and basically I saw this for sale, and I was like, oh man, this is your burn boot camp, because I hadn't gone at this point. Like I had never even stepped foot in the building. Yeah. And I texted it to her, and she comes running into the room. And it's like almost like that scene with Tom Cruise where he comes sliding across the floor. It was something like that. She says, are we going to do it? And I was, I think when I sent it to her, my feeling was, oh, this is interesting. Here, look, your gym's for sale.
And just to back up a little bit further, but Brian has always been very interested in opportunities, like whether it's business, whether it's houses, cars, like he's always looking at opportunities. And we've had conversations before about owning a business, starting a business. That's been something we talked about in the background, right?
Yeah. So you're on Biz Buy Sell pretty much a couple times a week, just seeing what the inventory is. And you happen to see burn and boom. And
he's thrown laundry. He's been like, let's do a laundromat. And I'm like, no way. I don't want to own a laundromat. I have no interest in that at all. So he's thrown a few things my way that I've immediately dismissed. Right. So I've never given it a second thought. And so he shows me this, and it was an immediate response.
Were you surprised? Were you surprised by her response to that?
I was, because typically she's the rational one that talks me off the ledge and whatever. And she came running in and was like, are we going to do it? And it kind of put me in a shock mode, because I didn't even know what I was like. I don't even know what we would have to do it. So maybe we think about it. And that's kind of, that started the conversation. Mm-hmm. And my, as far as power couple and how do we manage each other? My thought was, okay, I have a high intensity around owning a business and stuff, but I had this moment where I was like, I don't want this to be my thing for you. Right. And so there was an ownership kind of autonomy that I was like, I have to protect that if I'm going to be involved, where this is not my thing. It's kind of our thing, but it's really your thing. Mm-hmm. And so, there was a thought process as I approached, okay, let's look at financing. And so it's something like that. I was like, you make the phone call. Mm-hmm. It's what I do for a living. I was like, I could have had that conversation and talked circles. I was like, you should call it. Here's the number. And it was little things like that. And I still, to this day, I won't step in certain things where I'm like, that's the weight you get to lift. I'm not going to take it away from you.
Yeah. And that's, it's a very unique story, but a very common outcome in Burn Nation, at least, right? Because the majority of our members are women. 90% of our members are women too, right? Mm-hmm. And that's by design. That's intention. We got our Burn Bros and let's go. I'm rocking camps all the time, but let's be real. Burn Boot Camp was made for women to bring children, so that they can build community while their children are safe and sound and get the best workout, professional level. And the guys come in because it's a professional level workout and it kicks your butt and it's hard. But more importantly, come in to support their spouse, their wives, the woman in their life. You're going to support them, do things together, do fitness together, do health together. And this has become a family affair. And then when members start to inquire, Mac, like you did, about becoming an owner, it is very common for to us to have a dad, a husband who's driving business and driving the breadwinner, and then having mom who is sharp, has a ton of acumen, but prioritized her family for a long period of time until they got to a certain age. Mm-hmm. And then is ready for the thing. And it's so cool that you were able to just encourage Mackenzie for you to, first of all, slide in there like Tom Cruise and be like, basically, we're doing this, so get on board or not. And that was probably the moment you were like, oh, she just took ownership of that. I was like, I don't really have to, because she just took ownership of it. And it's so cool to see. And now we have a lot of the husbands in the business, they're involved with their back end and maybe finance, and a lot of the women who are members who understand what burn feels like. And men too. I'm just speaking in generalities. But they understand what it feels like and what it did for you. And this is a long-winded way to ask you a question.
Right.
What burn does for you as a mom, as a woman who became a mom, has children, and you lose yourself a little bit. Mm-hmm. Find yourself on that floor, Mac, don't you?
100%. I mean, that's what, just going back to when I made the decision to pursue it. I mean, it was because I love what happens when I walk through those doors. I felt like myself again, I'm inspiring my daughter. I'm teaching her what it means to be healthy, to be happy, to have a balanced life. I also was talking about protein 24/7 and, like you said, just bleeding blue and drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit. So I knew like this was the perfect opportunity. Ownership over Burn Boot Camp was a perfect opportunity to bring together what I'm passionate about in my heart, fitness, like generational health and well-being, and then also being able to lean into what I had from my background in my previous career, like all the skills that I had. So it's just like marrying everything together. Honestly, it felt like it was so meant to be because I also had this capacity, like this time that it was kind of kismet, right? Like Harper was going to school and I knew I had more time capacity. It was like it was meant to be. It was perfect. It was beautiful.
Had it happened a year earlier or a year later, things could have been very different, right? And so, I agree. It was, and that's kind of why I gave the backstory because we and you in particular were very primed for something, like the thought that something needed to happen and what is that thing going to be? And then from my perspective, like on her behalf, I saw the changes. She's going to, the girls are going to do this. We're going to do a run at the Coconut Point. We're going to do this, whatever. And she's like, can you watch Harper? I'm like, absolutely. So she's out there doing these things and reconnecting with people. And so that positivity, and she'd come back upbeat. She'd be da-da-da, and let me show you the pictures and this, and this person did this. So the buy-in for me was her buy-in, right? Because I didn't have my own story with Burn Boot Camp. Everything I lived up until that point was through her. And that was really important to me, was like, okay, one, she's primed for it. She's thinking about it. This is the opportunity. She loves this. And she says all the time, like, I always wanted to be a trainer. I always wanted to do something in fitness, but never really gave it any credence or like time or space to do it. So.
How do you reconcile the heart, the pull forward to something, that intuition, that gut feeling, whatever you want to call it? Like, this is the opportune time. I gotta do it. Take action now. Take imperfect action now. And then you got this head, oftentimes this brain. It's different in whether you tend to be like a visionary type person or like an integrator operator type person. It's different. But all of us have that conflict between the internal gut feeling and then the prefrontal cortex's ability to override our emotion and say, hey, well, maybe that's not the right timing because of X, Y, and Z. And so how do you just reconcile that when you're making big decisions in your life, whether it's a burn or a net new business, or even as little as going to camp tomorrow, right? Like you always had this constant conversation. How did you reconcile to take action in the moment, given that it was an opportune time? Because you said, you did it too early, it wouldn't work. You did it too late. You missed the opportunity. So many people sit by and let the opportunity to change their body go away, right? Like they missed that perfect invite that, somebody invited them out to the workout in the park where they could have met like 20 women who were going to be their best friends for the rest of their life. And they said no to that. Right. And then they didn't do anything else for 2 years, that type of thing. So what do you think about the reconciliation between head and heart when you make big decisions?
I think, at least when it came to Burn Boot Camp, for me, I thought, even though it might be a big change for me, like not doing it, the thought of not doing it weighed more heavily than the thought of doing it, right? Like, even though it might be a little scary, the thought that I'd let this opportunity pass me by would have been worse, like.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I do a little speech in front of small groups every once in a while. And there's a thing that I say that I truly believe in, which is you'll often regret signing up, but you'll rarely regret showing up. And so you think about like events like, hey, I signed up to go to West Boca. I'm not feeling it today. Then you show up and you do it. And you're like, man, I had a great time. I met these people. I'm energized, right? And so I kind of applied that to this. And I had the mentality that we're behind. Like just in life in general, I had that feeling like I'm behind. I got to do. But I was also like, hey, I don't know how long this has been out there. someone could already be signing paperwork today. We don't even know.
Right.
So from a practical standpoint, that was my sense of urgency around it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just so interesting because that indecision stops so many people from delivering themselves the life they deserve. Just the indecision. It's like if we can just take imperfect action, not wait. I think you know who says it really good is Jeff Bezos says it really good. He goes, at Amazon, we don't need all the data. We just need 60% of the data to inform a decision, to make a decision. But I think it's a epidemic, a chronic problem. People wait to have all of the information, wait till it's the perfect time and the sun is shining and the rainbow's out. And it's like, no, the best action is massive, imperfect action right now. And you guys kind of agree with that.
Well, it's one of the tension, like if we're speaking to what's it like being a couple and doing this stuff, that is one of the tension points, right? And we were talking about it earlier. I'm ready to do things yesterday imperfectly. And usually it is imperfect because I'm the one doing it and I want to do it quickly. And then Mac is like, hey, if we just took an extra 2 weeks and looked at this and did this and found this and met with this person, we would have a more complete product and have a higher probability of success. And that tension, I think, is part of our success because we evaluate those things through collegial debate, and we decide, at the end of the day, well, who are we leaning toward? Whose opinion and urgency are we leaning towards? Is this something that deserves more due diligence, or is this something that we know enough and let's go?
Yeah, I love that. Go ahead.
And when it came to Burn Boot Camp, honestly, I was so passionate and I was so excited. And me being the person who wants to have all the answers, all the data, all the analytics and know it's the perfect choice. I was like, as long as we can do it, we're doing it. It was like, if we can, we're doing it. And there was a moment where I was like, are we crazy? We're not crazy, right?
Yeah.
We got this.
Well, you kind of have to be a little bit.
So you have those moments and then you're like, no. It's all right. Like it's too good not to do it, I just believe in it so much.
I feel like the fear of what other people would think about you doing it too, because family is a big thing and Mac's family is very involved. And we were like, well, what are our parents going to say? Like, are our friends going to be like, not support us on an emotional level? And so we kind of kept it secret. Like, I don't think we actually told anyone until we were about to say it. Like, literally didn't tell anyone, except for I think at some point when it was like, this is a done deal, we actually had to tell her parents. Otherwise they would be like offended. But it was that like, we didn't want to put that fear or that weight on people around us. So
we also didn't want, no offense to anyone in our circle, but we didn't want anyone to influence us. We wanted to make sure this decision was our decision and our decision alone, so.
And then so let's stay on that thread actually before I jump to where I was about to jump to. We'll stay on this thread. So there's this idea of like, and it's very clear to me to see who the visionary and who the integrator is. And Brian, I'm sorry to say this, but I'm willing to say it and offend you because it's true for myself as well. The integrator is the structure and the dependency and the certainty that almost everybody needs, right? And you've realized this too, which is why you give it up. And I give it up to Morgan as well. And Morgan's the tiebreaker as the CEO. We read a book, actually. I don't know if you guys have read this book. It might be an interesting one for you to read. It's called Rocket Fuel. And it basically takes your personality and then helps you define what those swim lanes are based on like the Burn operating system. Nice. Right? Like what we do in the operating system, it's the leadership manual for kind of that. And it's a great read because it gives you some language and like some little nuances. And one of the nuances is the integrator, the fire keeper gets the tiebreaker, which, it just makes me angry sometimes. I'd love you, Morg. You're the best ever. And I'm happy to give you the tiebreaker. But I wanted to go build Burn Boot Camp shoes in Asia, and she wouldn't let me invest and go spend my time doing this because she said you're more valuable doing other things. And those are the type of moments where I'm just like, man, I'm so, like, to your point, like, I'm so glad I have a Mac, I have a Morgan, I have somebody who is, I don't want somebody who's just like me. I want somebody who I can conspire and wrestle with as a partner in life to make me better, as long as we're respectful and loving and kind. Like we were talking a little bit about this off air. We like the tension because the tension as long as it's respectful, is that's where all the great decisions are made. And I tend to be the one to be urgent about bad decisions. So that's why she's the tiebreaker. But Brian, I'll give you credit, and then I'll kick it back to you guys for commentary. But I'll give you credit, and I'm sure Matt gives you this credit too. The one idea out of every 6 that's really, really good, it's a good idea. Mm-hmm. Dude, that was a really good idea.
You can't get to 6 if you stop at 5.
Yeah, exactly. We're glad the integrators are glad they have their visionaries, because it's our job. It's our job to be their creative arm and be their visionary arm and inspiration arm, and bring them solutions to problems and let them decide which solution works best for the organization.
Oh,
sounds similar?
Yes, it does.
100%.
Strikes a chord for sure.
I think there's an element too of when we made the decision, there was like, well, what's the worst case scenario here? And I just go back to that story where we're eating soup and sharing a ladle back and forth because we had no utensils. And I was like, well, that maybe that's as bad. And we were laughing. Yeah. And that's something that I've kind of gone over and over and over in my head, was like, if it all goes bad, everything's going to be fine.
So you had an expansion mindset right away. Mm-hmm. I came down, I think the first time we talked digitally, but then the first time we met in person is when when you came for Burn U, or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was for Burn U. And then we got to know each other a little bit, but then we spent some significant time with you and the team over in Estero when Morgan and I came down to visit the area. And I was just blown away by, shout out to Estero, because it was a great gym all along. It was, that's why you were there.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely. It
wasn't like you needed to go in and, completely blow it all up and like start over. You did, but you took it, like you took something that was good and you made it great. And it's continuing to get better and better and better. And so maybe just share some of the tactical principles. What do you instill? How are you instilling your values in a team? How do you get from good to great? What's some of the ingredients there from your perspective?
When it comes to Estero, I feel like there probably are 2 things that I would speak to. First would be empowering the team. So it was really important to me when I came in that I built an org chart. There was layers of leadership. I found out what people were strong in, what their interests were in, and really kind of built more structure and layers into the gym so that people could rise up and use skills maybe they haven't had an opportunity to use in the past. I've really seen some of the team members shine and grow so much over the past year. It's really amazing. I'm very proud of them. And then another thing that was important to me was making sure, Burn Boot Camp in general is all about removing barriers and making fitness accessible to everybody. And so it was important to me that we opened up the gym. So at the time when I purchased it, we had 2 camps on Saturdays. And it was constant, like not as many people were getting in as they should have, in my opinion, right? There were people who were turned away because our wait lists were full. And we just clearly needed another camp so that everybody could work out on the weekends. I wanted to make sure that we were co-ed all the time. I want to make sure our burn bros could come in whenever they wanted to and open up the doors there. And then also adding child watch on Saturdays. Like these were 3 things that I was like non-negotiable. Like we're going to try to get these in motion as soon as possible, as long as we're not going to ruffle too many feathers. And the response was great. And more people were coming to camp, and I got to see whole families show up, and that, gets me. It gets me when I see a whole family show up.
Saturdays the best. Saturdays
so
are the best. That's the time where, we need to come in together. It's the best.
And we're seeing families coming at 5:30 p.m. now too, and 4:30, and it's awesome. It makes my heart so happy. And also knowing that Saturdays, now that we have more camp times and everything, that no one's going to another burn boot camp. And I have no problem with our members going and working out, at our neighboring locations. But if it's something that we can provide and I can keep them at home, just by expanding the business, I want to do that for them, So I think that was something I was really excited about?
There was a couple elements. One, I think there was an inflection point where it was, hey, does Mac get CPT certified and start training? And so and we thought about it a lot. We're like, well, that sounds fun. Yes, you could do it and you would be fantastic. And a lot of people don't know Max sings. She sung the anthem at the Boston Red Sox and the Twins.
Oh, cool.
So
Preseason games. It's
okay. It counts. So she sings, and so she's like, I can't wait to get on the mic, and I'm gonna be singing in between things and dancing around. And we had to make a difficult decision because
I'm glad you brought this up.
Yeah, when we were thinking about scaling, we're like, well, how does that work? Like, if people are counting on you on being in the gym, which we saw as one of the Achilles heels of Jen and Brad's, was they were in there, they were training, and they couldn't not be there, right? And so I said, is that something you want to do, knowing that there's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 more of these at some point? We were already thinking that way.
Yeah.
And so that was really important, not stepping into that role, not taking up a space, and then hiring for that role.
Yeah.
And that's been something, and there's been other examples of that, but
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I know, because I did get CPT certified, so that, and my plan after we had talked and thought more about it was, if I need to, I can. But to Brian's point, like, not taking the space from the people who can be there and own that role and master it, right? Because kind of like what you were talking about earlier with the shoes, right? My skill set as a multi-unit owner is probably best served in other areas of the business versus being on the floating floor, even though I would love it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's interesting because you hear so many people give you advice, like, do what you're passionate about. And I think that you have to be definitely passionate about what you do. I just don't think you need to always do what you're absolutely most passionate about, because passion doesn't always equal acumen. But where's the cross section of something you're really good at versus that you really like? It doesn't have to be your absolute passion, but watch how it grows in passion once you're good at it, right? Like, so you could go train on the floor, is what I hear you saying.
Yeah.
You'd really like to. It'd be like something that you would be a vibe on the floor and push people with your mentality, the way you work out, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And I might even like that more than I like the back end operations, but I like the back end operations and I'm really good at it. Right. And I can see a road in which that cross section can help me maximize everything and actualize myself. And so I think it's just a really mature way to look at business, when most people will give you the advice of, like, follow the number one thing you're, like, most passionate about. I'm actually the same way, right? I'm most passionate about training. I love being on the mic, like I was at 9:30 here today, more than I like being the visionary. It's the most fun. I'm in my element. It's what I was made for. Pretty good entrepreneur too. And so I know that I can have more impact if I've leaned into that. And you're basically saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I want to now, okay, so we're in Estero. I'm going to go back to Estero in a moment because I want to hear about some members that come to mind. I want to hear about some team members from there. I want you to kind of dig into Estero. We'll do that next. But since we're on expansion and you getting into the business and growing it right away, why don't you guys, you can share pretty much anything that we've talked about between us, Burn Blitz, which is that whole idea of HQ building gyms and franchise partners building gyms and doing it together. We've done this. I've talked about it on the podcast before. We've done this all over the country. It's been one of our main ways to grow. And you guys stepped up and you were like, hey, we love what we're doing here in Estero. It's working really well. And I want to put my hat in for West Boca, and I want to expand. But not only that, I want to go to West Boca, but I want to go to a handful more territories around and expand, which was pleasantly surprising for me, right? Mm-hmm. It was pleasantly surprising. I'm like, oh, they don't just want one more. They want to get it. And then I got a chance. I already knew you. I got a chance to meet you. And I'm like, okay, I can see exactly how this is going to work now. Mm-hmm. And so why don't you guys just talk about that decision to come to Boca, what you did here. Anybody that's been to West Boca before, which there's many of you out there, it's been open for a long time. It's gone through every generation of interior design, every generation of equipment design. you name it, window, exterior design, and it's one of the original Florida gyms. And so what was that decision? What did you do when you first came in here? Then we'll go back to Estero. We'll talk a little bit about Estero, and then we'll talk more about the Boca team and the Boca members and people you've been able to meet here.
It's a big question.
Yes.
Maybe I'll start because this story starts similar to the last one.
Oh, that's what I was going to say, because it started a lot similar to the other one.
So I'm on Biz Buy and Sell.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to start sending you Biz Buy Sell links.
And actually, I think this time was a little different. I Googled burn boot camps for sale because I was scaring the hell out of her, saying things like, well, it doesn't matter where it is. We can buy it and we can do it. And look, and I was road mapping all these things and speculating. And then I saw that West Boca was for sale. And in fact, I think it was one of the only ones for sale at the time. And then I saw, hey, why not? Let's check it out. And I sent it to her and she rolled her eyes and was like, you're crazy. Because I think we were 5 months in. You were 5 months into Estero.
It was pretty new still. Yeah.
And I was like, let's take a look. I was like, why don't you just call someone internally and say, hey, understand this is for sale. It looks like a burn HQ gym, and let's just find out what's going on.
I don't think we knew that at that time, actually.
Yeah, maybe we didn't. I think we just said, let's ask them first. And so then we found out the details. And then coming over here, to your point, Devan, about like the way it looked, it was pretty intimidating. I think it was like can this be done? Can we do it? What would it take? What do we need to know about the community? Can we even get that information? And there was a lot of that dialogue that went back and forth I think we talked to you guys for 4.5, almost 5 months before we landed on something. So,
yeah, it was different, right? Because in Estero, that was a market we were familiar with, right? I'd been living in Estero, part of the burn culture there for a while. So here, it was a different assessment for us, right? Like we had to look at a space we hadn't stepped into. We had to think about a market that we didn't know as intimately. But I think when it all came down to it, the decision was similar to the one in Estero where we were like, if we don't do this, we'll regret this more than like if we pursue it and maybe knock it out of the park in the first 5 minutes, right? And maybe if it might take a little longer or take a different journey than the Estero gym, but it's just an opportunity that we shouldn't pass up, knowing the path that we want to take with Burn Boot Camp and what our goals are, And
I think it was from that conversation, I think we caught wind of the Burn Blitz. And I think, and then the fact that we were buying it, it was, hey, come to this meeting that you hosted, talking about all of that, understanding what that looked like. And I almost feel like the negotiations happened simultaneously. Like it was like, well, if you're going to take that one over, our mentality was, well, if we're going to buy that one, we don't want to be surrounded by other people we don't know. Like, so we went through that process with you guys, the BYE, and it just all made sense. And we know the area enough to know that it's possible. We know the brand. And so there was a high level of confidence that it could be done. And we basically had to look at each other and say, do we want to, and can we do it? And I think as far as the entrepreneurial side, that's been the consistent function is yes, we can, right? Yes, we can. Let's start with that and then figure out how we do it.
Yeah, I love that. Why don't you just tell everybody who can't see what I see right now, because I'm looking out at this beautiful, how many square foot is this gym?
7,100.
This beautiful 7,000 plus square foot gym, the giant 40-foot Burn Boot Camp logo on the wall, and just contrasting that to what it looked like when we first built this with our bare hands. And it just looks beautiful. So you wanted to come in here and you wanted to show the membership that you were coming in, and I'm going to come in and answer all the needs that you guys have. And one of those needs was the transformation aesthetically of Burn Boot Camp West Boca. Talk a little bit about that. I think it's really cool.
You go first.
When we came in here, it was important to us that the first phase of our transformation would be aesthetics and focusing on the facility. So, and it was tricky. Like we had to think about how to line things up, right? We have to make sure that things are happening in the right order. And it took a lot of structure and, I would say following up with vendors, right? Like a little more following up with vendors than
Nothing happened the way it was supposed to. So and that was the adventurous side of it.
Yeah, there were some surprises along the way. It's funny because in the very beginning, it was going so smoothly, right? Everything. I was like, wow, usually with construction and redesign and this sort of thing, things don't go according to plan and it's going so well. And then, then the toilets were left out and we had to close camp for one day. And I'm like, well, in the grand scheme of things, one day of closed camps and everything that we accomplished with like the physical transformation probably isn't terrible, but my goal was 0, of course. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. What else should we say?
Run down the list of things you did.
Okay. We replaced all the lighting. We took down old signage, repainted all the walls, put in new interior vinyls, exterior channel set lighting. We put in a new...
I'm going to have Jordan show it while you're talking about it. He's going to get up and he's going to take my little camera right here and he's just going to pan the gym real quick for us.
Excellent.
There we go. Check it out. Get you some optics, Burn Nation. We're on YouTube, by the way, on the podcast, everybody. If you are listening to Apple right now, which I know a lot of you do, we got video podcasts on YouTube. Every single episode is a video podcast and on Spotify. So make sure that you are tuned in to Burn Bootcamp podcast on YouTube. Our Burn Bootcamp main channel just hit 100,000 subscribers. We're trying to grow the podcast channel to get just as big. So please, everyone, especially if you are members at Estero and West Boca listening to this, you definitely have to. That's not an option. If you're Burn Nation,
we'll be checking.
Strongly encourage you to do that. We appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Yes.
So little optics on the gym. I just think it's so cool that you guys came in, boom, took the leadership decision, transformed it in growth mode. Team's on fire. Everybody that I know, you guys are a destination location for people that vacation down here in the great state of Florida. Beautiful area, and people that are walking in here now are going to say, "Oh my goodness, it smells new, looks new, is new." So congratulations on your second unit here, and
thank you.
We had an awesome day today. So let's just go to membership and team, and I want you guys to talk about maybe some people that stick out to you. I don't have necessarily a point in question. Who sticks out to you from your team members here at Burn that have really gone above and beyond to be your right hand, to anticipate your problems, bring you solutions, and really be, your managing partner in growth? And or if a member's transformation comes to mind as well, I'd also like to maybe hear one of each or two examples of each. Where does your head go, Mac?
Well, I want to know when does this podcast come out? What is the release date on this podcast?
3 weeks from today.
No, not today, but 2.5 weeks.
Okay, yeah. So, I don't know what the date is.
No, that's all I needed to know.
Okay.
So from a staff perspective, I will say my lead trainer in Estero, Sylvia Falgier, stands out as somebody who's really risen to the challenge of and anticipated needs at the gym. I asked when this was releasing because she's being recognized as Trainer of the Month for December. So I wanted to make sure I wasn't, saying anything too soon.
Awesome. Yeah. Shout out.
So she's
a beast, by the way.
Yeah.
Congrats, Sylvia.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
We
love you. We love you. Thank you for all you do.
She's been a part of the team for a long time and other burn boot camps before, Estero, and bleeds blue through and through. When I took over the gym, because the previous owners in Estero were lead trainer, ops manager, and FP. So they were wearing all the hats, right? And so as part of us taking over, I had told them, we kind of need to start preparing, someone to step in to take over some of the responsibilities that you have as a lead trainer, because that's not something I can do right now. I wasn't CPT certified at the time. And so they had started having Sylvia take over programming kind of without a vision of where things were going to go necessarily. And she was a little apprehensive about it, but because it's very important to her that if she does something, she's going to do it with excellence. And so as time went on, she and Hope Bittner in the gym were co-leads, and we had kind of split the ownership of the lead trainer role into product and people. And so Sylvia was doing product and Hope was doing people. And that worked for a long time, and they were masters of their roles. Hope decided to step down because she wanted to spend more time with her little one, which we can all understand that, right? Back to the beginning of the story. And Sylvia, without a blink of an eye, stepped up and thanked me and for believing in her. And to see the transformation that I've seen with her over the year of kind of being maybe a little hesitant and not quite as confident in herself as I knew she should be, because I've had confidence in her out of the gate from the moment before I even bought the gym, right? Just seeing her in the gym, to seeing her step into her own confidence and take everything over. And not only is she an excellent lead trainer, she's training her first trainer in training now, but she'll ask me questions about other parts of the business, and I see her as a really strong leader, not just in the fitness product, but for Burn Boot Camp overall. So I'm very proud of her.
I was just going over my Instagram post that I made when I came to see you guys, and I am getting dominated by your training team on.
I believe it.
I don't think I've been that sore in my chest in a long time. It's on your page, the Estero one we got collab with.
It's pinned.
Yeah, it's
pinned on the grid.
Burn Boot Camp Estero. You can just go through and you can see just how intense these trainers are. Man, it brings me back. I was on fire that day too. I'll remember that day, and then we got in a circle.
Oh yeah.
Everybody. Oh yes. It was fire. If you have not gone to the Estero gym and you visit that area of the country, the Gulf side of Florida, you got to do it. Estero, absolutely, for sure. Naples, all the gyms, but you got to go see the Herricks for sure.
Well, I got to do a shout out for, and I think the question is who comes to the top of mind, but from the outside, because I'm not a manager of the people. Mm-hmm. Mackenzie is the owner of the business, right? And so as FP, I call myself the loud and annoying investor. But I get to be there. I'm in meetings. I'm hearing them talk. And there was one particular meeting, I think, where the meeting started off with an icebreaker, which was tell me what you're proud of, because we had just come back from the announcement of the Proud Tour over in Texas. And the level of emotion that came out of everybody in the room, I think, is indicative of what makes Burn so great, right? Because you can't pay someone to do that, nor should you, right? If you have to pay someone to do that, something's wrong. That's the intangible, and it bleeds through everything else. And so when I think about, I was talking to two of the Estero members that came today, and I was talking about leadership, and I was like, we might lead the staff, but the staff leads the community. Mm-hmm. And that takes an immense amount of leadership that goes way beyond just training and just checking people in. It's deep, and it takes energy and heart. And that's what I see in both gyms. It was one of the things that said, I think we can make this work, because that heart was here. Mm-hmm. Yes, everyone has room to grow. But that's been my observation from the outside, hearing her stories and listening to them, is there's not a single person that does not care about this place and the members.
Yeah, it's definitely a trend today to be communal, and community is trending. And I'm glad it is. It's very weird to me that it's trending, because I'm this is such a universal, the need for community and belonging is such a universal concept. We all need it. Mm-hmm. More than, almost anything, right? What's the number one form of punishment? Isolation. They put you in jail and lock you up, and you don't get to be around people.
Sorry, Harper.
Time out.
Yeah, right. You go to your little kid jail in your room, knock your door. Yeah, but it just it's cool to see Burn Boot Camp, from my perspective, slowly shifting the paradigm. Mm-hmm. The things that we've always done, strength training, community, these are becoming trendy nowadays. And it's just, and I'm glad, because that will mean that we'd be part of shifting the paradigm. And which I think is maybe a little bit of the pull to why you guys want to expand so much. You feel like there's magic in this place. I know I feel that. Magic inherently you don't really necessarily know how it works. I don't necessarily know how Burn is what it is today outside of me just loving people and actually intrinsically wanting better for them and sacrificing my own goodwill to see them be successful. And you reflect that, and our other franchise partners reflect that, and you can't duplicate that. You know what else is becoming trendy in fitness is child watch. Yeah, and I'm like, community, child watch, and strength, their big companies are having meetings on how to retrofit all of their boutique studios to include child watch in it. And these things were not novel ideas to me when we first started, and they're not novel to you. They are they are essence of who you are. What else do you think makes Burn us different? People ask us that all the time. Members always say, DK, man, I love this place and I thank you so much. There's just something about it. I don't know what it is, but there's something about it that's just different. I've never worked out before. I've never stuck to anything before, something like that, they'll say. But I'm obsessed with this place in a healthy way, they'll say, right? And you've heard that, some version of that.
Right.
What the heck is going on? Like, why do you think that is?
Honestly, I'm going to tie it back to our cultural value. I think authenticity, honestly, is a huge needle mover at Burn Boot Camp. I think people are trying to to your point, people are trying to replicate the things we do, but no one is able to replicate our authenticity. Every person, West Boca, Acero, both these gyms, care about the people who walk through that front door. And we ask people questions and we want to know the answers and we remember and we celebrate. So, I mean, we say community, but I think the fact that it's so authentic is what makes it different than another gym out there trying to do the same things without that authentic and that heart.
And you guys might know this about me, but I don't really look left or look right. I've said this for years. Like, I'm racing, I'm not looking left or right. I'm just looking toward the finish line. And so this stuff just comes to me. I don't go out and like seek this information. It just comes across my desk from people thinking that I would be interested in it. And it's interesting, but just like, I won't name the companies because it's not about that, but just the fact that there's big meetings talking about how to incorporate strength training. Big meetings talking about how do we do what Burn's doing? How do we get big meetings talking about how do we manufacture community? And I'm like, those three, you can do one of those three. You can go be a strength training gym,
right? But
you cannot retroactively manufacture community, and you cannot retroactively manufacture the confidence that comes from being a part of something authentically. Brian, what's your outlook on that?
Maybe some non-Burn, less traditional. Some less traditional lingo. But like in my world, there's I think Ray Dalio is like a big investment guru. He said, in order to do business and long lasting and build relationships, you have to like the person, trust them, and believe they're competent, right? And so if I take that concept and overlay it, all of those things have to do with the person, right? It's not really the product. I mean, the product is important, right? Like if you have a top 3 product, but you don't do the people thing, it doesn't matter, right? So all 3 have to exist is the idea. So if I had, without naming those 3 things specifically, maybe I'll try, they exist here, right? Whatever those things are, maybe it's 4 things, whatever. But if I brought it down to a single thing, it's the people first, right? Yeah. And I don't know if you say people first, right?
Just throw another core value in. Okay. Sure. It's good. I love that.
This is an episode brought to you by Burn Boot Camp.
He's not going to use the people first.
Well, I mean, that's how good you do it, right? Is I'm not trained in that, and that's what I see.
That's
right?
the idea.
And so I think the way people feel is both physically in results, but also in how they feel emotionally, which is a more whole person, right? And I think a lot of gyms don't touch on that. It's how do you look? Are you ready for bikini season? Are your muscles looking good? Did you feel pushed today, right? All these things that are physical attributes, and they do it very well. but they don't touch on that whole person thing. Like, are you feeling loved today? Are you feeling welcomed? Are you feeling safe? Do you have trust? And if people are missing those things in their life, they can find them here.
Just going to say one thing to piggyback off that.
Do it.
Where I feel like what you're trying to say in a nutshell. I mean, you said it beautifully, so I'm not trying to restate it, but
This is a real puppy talk, by the way.
That's good.
But other gyms celebrate results and we celebrate transformations. Like, it is not just about the results. It is like we celebrate results too, but it's about transformations, and transformations are more than just results.
Well, talking about your refresh, you put the core value, or you put the tag of Burn Boot Camp up on the wall: inspire, empower, transform. It has a definition, the phonetic definition, and it means to transform physical appearance or character of. Change physical appearance or character of. So that's what I hear you saying. It's the character. Yes. It's most people are focused on working out and the six pack and the outcome physically, when we care much more about a person holistically and how their life is going at home. And I think we're going to continue to do that, because that's just who we are. And I know that we're getting toward the end of our time here on the podcast. Thank you so much for spending time really talking about your journey, being so open about it. What does the future look like? We kind of went backwards. We talked about where you're at right now. What does the future look like for you personally, professionally? I know you guys are entrepreneurial, so business wise, like, just give us what's next for you guys, and maybe weave in a little bit of inspiration for the folks at home.
Well, I would say our intent is to develop more over here in the southeast part of Florida. And then hopefully also on the southwest side of Florida after that, continuing to grow our multi-unit portfolio as Burn Boot Camp owners. And then personally, well, I don't know. I don't think we have any more kids on the plan, but so just continuing to, show up, be present for Harper, and show her all the love she deserves, and let her start getting more involved in the business. She puts stickers on the retail, but
I know that you bleed blue truly and deeply in your bones, because Morgan and I do the same thing. We're like, well, professionally, it's like boom, 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 but personally,
right.
Well, we love our kids and we're happy they're doing the business. We're happy they like the business. It just means that it's so congruent with who you are mentally, physically, and emotionally, that you're in the right spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say this is where the tension comes in, because Mac will say a couple gyms or whatever, and
his number's different than my number.
Yeah.
We'll meet in the middle.
1 million gyms.
Well, the going joke now, because I said she was nervous when I said, if we could do 20 plus or whatever, but I think I'm more excited about the fact that there isn't an upper limit, right? And so if we can get entire portfolios of gyms, because I not just because we want to own gyms and like there's great revenue and stuff like that, but because I really believe that the way we think and the way we're structured and the way we care about people, like if we can train people to become franchise partners through the gym, through the entire, you go from being a trainer to an ops person to a franchise partner, that would be fulfilling for me, right? So it's not about my ownership. It's about like, how can we contribute to this big thing and make an impact? And part of that is just being as big as you can be, I think.
Yeah. And we do we like to inspire people, whether it's on the floating floor or it's through business. We like to bring people up with us. And I think we're starting to do that. And I think we're excited about how much more bandwidth we're going to have as we grow to be able to bring people up with us and develop them and grow them. And, you turn them into FPs too.
You certainly are. And you certainly already are doing that very well. I see it in Estero. I see it here today and in West Boca. I know that this is almost brand new for you here. And I know it's not going to look even close to the same this time next year as it does today in the best way possible. Thank you guys for your time. It was really good. We appreciate you. And if you at home enjoyed this and you want more of the Burn Boot Camp podcast, unfortunately the Herricks got to go. They got stuff to do. We got things we got to get done. We're happy to spend some time with you all, but I do have another episode right here. I actually want you to check this one out. I know so many of you binge watch the Burn Boot Camp podcast here on YouTube. There it is. Your next episode. Go check this one out. Until next time, 2 claps on 2. 1, 2. Keep moving, everyone.
Boom.